Most gardeners think humus is just another way to say compost. They keep piling it on year after year, expecting instant results and, wonder why their beds still dry out, soil collapses and nutrients vanish mid-season. That's the mistake. Humus is not compost. It's far more powerful, and if you don't understand it, you're never going to get soil that sustains high yields over the long term. For serious gardeners who want soil that actually works, this is the game changer. Subscribe now if you want practical strategies that compound year after year rather than forcing seasonal recovery. Hoarding humus isn't greed, it's survival for your soil. Here's the truth. Gardeners who obsessively store humus aren't just collecting material for show, they understand something most people miss. True humus is dark, crumbly, chemically complex carbon that stays in the soil for years, sometimes decades. It doesn't break down like compost does. It retains water, holds nutrients in place, and creates structure that supports microbial life. Without it, your beds are weak, leaky, and constantly needing corrections. This isn't theory. I've seen it in raised beds, backyard plots, and even media-based hydroponic systems. The distinction between compost and humus changes how you garden. Compost is food for microbes. Humus is infrastructure. When you pile compost on your soil, microbes feast, nutrients flow, and volume shrinks. Beds sink. Fertility becomes inconsistent. Plants may flourish for a few weeks, then struggle when the system can't sustain them. Humus, on the other hand, is the stable carbon framework left behind after decomposition. It improves cation exchange capacity, retains moisture, binds nutrients, and stabilizes aggregates. It's what makes soil resilient under drought, heavy rains, or high-demand crops. Why most gardeners fail to build humus? The biggest mistake is assuming compost equals humus. You need three components to actually build humus: biologically active organic matter, stable carbon, and balanced minerals. Skip any one of these, and your soil will remain reactive rather than self-supporting. In practical terms, that means compost alone isn't enough. You need to integrate something like Biochar as the long-lasting carbon framework and supplement minerals based on a soil test. So, in one of my raised beds, I deliberately tested this. Half the bed got heavy compost top dressing every season. The other half got a blend of 6 to 8 cubic feet of compost, 3 cubic feet of charged biochar, and around 5 to 10 pounds of rock dust for minerals. Over 3 growing seasons, the compost-only side needed extra fertilizer mid-season and irrigation more frequently. The humus-focused side held nutrients better, retained moisture longer, and maintained soil structure without collapsing. The difference wasn't dramatic in week 1, but by year 3, it was unmistakable. Now let's talk about how to charge biochar properly before applying it. Raw biochar is almost like a vacuum for nutrients. If you put it straight into soil, it will pull nitrogen and other elements out of your beds, leaving plants temporarily deficient. That's why charging biochar before application is essential. I crush mine to mostly half-inch or smaller particles. Then I soak it in a nutrient-rich solution, either compost tea or sometimes diluted urine, at roughly 1 part urine to 10 parts water. Another approach is to mix it 1-to-1 with finished compost and keep it moist for 3 to 4 weeks. The goal is to fill every pore with nutrients and microbial life before it enters the garden. Without this step, humus formation is slowed and plant response is inconsistent. When it comes to applying humus in raised beds, integration is key. Simply scattering a compost biochar blend on the surface won't create stable humus. In new beds, I work the mixture thoroughly into the top 6 to 8 inches. In established perennial beds, I trench along drip lines and backfill with the humus building mix, letting worms and roots redistribute it naturally. In sandy soil, I've seen irrigation frequency drop by nearly 30% after 2 seasons of humus-focused management. Plants remain turgid longer, nutrient deficiencies are reduced, and the beds no longer collapse under heavy rain. Even hydroponic systems benefit from humus strategies. Media-based hydroponics may not need soil structure, but humus principles still apply. In a cocoa coir and perlite mix, I replace about 10% of the volume with pre-charged biochar. This improves buffering, reduces EC spikes between feedings, and supports denser, more fibrous root growth. In wicking beds, adding a 1-inch layer of biochar above the water reservoir stabilizes moisture gradients and creates a more consistent root environment. The effect compounds over time as microbial communities establish themselves. Common mistakes gardeners make when building humus. Excess raw organic matter can cause nitrogen drawdown, anaerobic pockets, or fungal imbalances. Too much biochar in clay soils can over-loosen structure and reduce water-holding capacity. Mineral additions must be guided by soil tests, not guesswork. In practice, 5% biochar by volume works for clay soils, 8 to 12% for sandy soils, and mineral amendments should match deficiencies identified in testing. Balance is the difference between accelerated humus formation and wasted effort. The changes you actually see over time. True humus doesn't produce fireworks in the first few weeks. By season 2 or 3, soil aggregates are stable, roots penetrate more densely, and earthworm populations increase naturally. Moisture distribution evens out, fertilizer efficiency improves, drought tolerance increases, yields remain steady without repeated heavy feeding, because the soil itself is now a self-sustaining system. That's why serious gardeners hoard humus. It's not just material, it's the backbone of long-term productivity. Compost is still essential, but it's only part of the equation. I still compost aggressively every season. It feeds the soil and accelerates microbial activity. But without stable carbon and minerals, compost alone is reactive, not self-supporting. Humus-building strategies combine compost with infrastructure to create soil that strengthens over time rather than collapsing under seasonal pressures. Starting your own humus-focused system. Pick one bed and integrate a balanced blend of compost, charged biochar, and mineral amendments into the root zone. Track irrigation, fertilizer use, and yield over at least 2 growing seasons. Compare with a control bed managed traditionally. Real gardeners test and observe. Data beats theory. The takeaway. If your beds shrink, your irrigation remains heavy, and nutrients vanish mid-season despite composting, you're feeding soil without building it. Humus-building strategies correct that. This isn't quick-fix gardening. It's about long-term soil resilience, stronger yields, and sustainable systems that improve year after year. Subscribe to Farm Logic if you're ready to move beyond surface-level soil advice and into practical long-term soil building. Share this video with another serious gardener who's tired of seasonal soil collapse. The more we focus on humus, the better our gardens grow and the more resilient our food systems become.